One of the best things that The Force Awakens did was setting up several mystery boxes that could be opened later in the sequels. This is what led to years' worth of fan speculation on who certain characters were and how they would eventually turn out. Aspects such as this are what made the sequels an enjoyable process, despite their divided reception. And after seeing how everything played out, it's safe to say that the lead-ups to the films were more interesting than the actual movies itself. And out of the many theories that circulated during this time, Snoke's identity was at the top of the list. Even though his character ended up being underwhelming, it's still fun to consider what could have been. So here are the 10 best theories for who Snoke was. Theory 1. Snoke was related to Rey, specifically her older brother or uncle. Due to the failed cloning process of Palpatine, it is very likely that Rey's parents had a child before Rey that was kidnapped and tortured before being deemed a failed donor. A similar story could be applied to Rey having an uncle who was also a failed donor before the creation of Rey's father. This could be combined with a past storyline that Luke attacked the Sith compound in order to destroy this operation. This led to Snoke being severely wounded by Luke after he reflected Force lightning back at him. Theory 2. Snoke is the Grand Inquisitor. For one, his appearance would be one of the closest matches to Snoke that there is in the Star Wars universe. And 2, we've seen the Grand Inquisitor survive near-death experiences in the past, and he also wouldn't be the only character to survive horrific encounters. The theory could follow that he went into hiding and re-emerged as a new Emperor-like figure, with most of his knowledge of the Force being expanded over the years. The Grand Inquisitor would have likely wanted to target Ben Solo after learning his identity in order to use him as the perfect vessel to get revenge on the Jedi. This would be especially ironic, as he was once Vader's student and is now the leader of Vader's grandson. Theory 3. The Son of Mortis. After the Grand Inquisitor, the Son is the next character in line who is similar to Snoke's ghost-like appearance. His return would also explain his unique abilities in the Force and could set up a potential ending arc to the trilogy. It could later be revealed that Rey is the reincarnation of the daughter, making Ben Solo the new Anakin-like figure. In this case, Luke Skywalker would resemble the father, and Ben Solo's turn back to the light side could be what creates a balance in the Force once again. Theory 4. Darth Plagas. Instead of Palpatine's return, it would have been neat to see his master get a turn in the spotlight. After all, we know that Plagas was originally the one interested in studying immortality. This would also allow for some time spent investigating what happens to darkside users when they die, and if they have any sort of afterlife or chance of being reincarnated. Plagas would also explain why Snoke is so old, and would provide the perfect chance to include a flashback of when Palpatine betrayed his former master. Theory 5. Grand Tarkin. Even though Tarkin doesn't match Snoke's appearance in a general sense, his facial structure was one of the more profound similarities pointed out in Snoke's brief appearance in Episode 7. The theory could insinuate that Tarkin somehow survived the Death Star's explosion, which was the cause of his disfigurement. In The Force Awakens, Snoke is never revealed to be Force-sensitive or powerful in any way, as he is only seen as a projection. This could have been an interesting route for the mysterious character, as he would be an Emperor without any Force abilities. He could be someone that calls the shots from a distance and only relies on his intelligence as a way to gain influence and power. This would explain why he uses Kylo Ren as his muscle. This would also explain the emergence of the First Order being so identical to the Empire and how they were able to recreate the ability to destroy entire planets at once. Theory 6. Mace Windu. Like Palpatine, Mace Windu was also someone where Force lightning made such a severe impact on their appearance. The theory could follow that Windu survived his fall in Revenge of the Sith, and that he didn't know who to trust for years. Windu has also always been conflicted in the Force, as his purple lightsaber is a bridge between blue and red. It would also make sense for him to declare war against the Resistance, as he sees Anakin's kids, Luke and Leia, as the enemy. It also would have been neat to see a potential fight between him and Luke Skywalker at the end of the trilogy. Theory 7. Galen Marrick. Snoke could have been a good potential way to introduce Starkiller into canon. The theory could reveal Darth Vader's secret apprentice and that he was almost killed after Palpatine found out. Palpatine's Force lightning could be what disfigured his face, and that he failed to live a normal life after the tragic events of his upbringing. His conflict could be what later inspires him to overtake the galaxy and why he wanted to corrupt Vader's grandson the same way that he was. This could also lead to a special battle between him and Luke Skywalker, as his character was always meant to be the polar opposite of Luke. Theory 8. A Luke Skywalker clone. It was revealed that the original first scene of the sequels was Luke's hand flying through space after being chopped off in The Empire Strikes Back. This could lead to the Empire eventually getting their hands on it and cloning Luke Skywalker through his DNA. This could explain why Luke went into hiding, as he didn't want any more of his DNA being extracted. Luke having an evil clone was also one of the main storylines used in Legends, so it would have been neat to recycle this for Snoke's identity. It could explain why he has such an odd appearance, as the experiments likely went wrong, but that the clone still exhibits a lot of power in the Force. Theory 9. Kylo Ren from the future. It could be explained that Kylo Ren somehow traveled back into the future or sent holograms to himself in the past so that he could be his own master. It would be neat to see that he maybe failed in the future and lost to the Resistance, which is why he's trying to change history by overseeing his younger self. If he was able to tell himself exactly where he went wrong, it would be impossible to stop him. It would almost require Rey or Luke going into the world between worlds themselves to try and stop him. Before the last theory, let's go over some honorable mentions. There are several far-fetched theories on Snoke's identity, from Jar Jar Binks to the Sith Emperor to Vader being reincarnated to the stormtrooper that hit his head to the bread that Rey was eating to even the pear that Anakin cut in Attack of the Clones. But none of these compare to the theory that Snoke is actually the youngling in Revenge of the Sith. His face is almost identical to what the kid would have looked like as a disfigured old man. Maybe this theory wouldn't be so far-fetched, after all, as Reva was an Order 66 survivor who eventually became the antagonist. And maybe the young boy surviving Anakin's attack and coming back like a force of nature to stand on business would have been received better by fans than Snoke just being a failed Palpatine clone at the end of the day. Anyways, moving on. Theory 10. The First Jedi. The theory follows that Snoke was the creator of the Jedi Order, and eventually turned to the dark side after discovering immortality. It would be fitting to the location that Luke has moved to, which is the First Jedi Temple. The imagery in the cave here is extremely similar to what Snoke looks like. It could be revealed that Luke stationed himself there in order to study Snoke's origins and to learn how to possibly defeat him. It would also be the last place that Snoke would try and find him at. This theory would have been neat, as it sets up a new villain in the franchise who goes back much further than Palpatine.